Joy is early afternoon. Joy is late afternoon. Joy is early evening. So here's the link. Control V. Control V. Here's the link. I'll pin it. So what are we going to talk about today? Today we're going to talk about empathy, sympathy, Brene Brown, Russell Brand, evolution. So I'll start with the script that I read for today. Emotional intelligence is sympathy. Humans and other mammals have empathy because of evolution. Empathy is as old as the hippocampus, amygdala, and the limbic system. Sympathy is a byproduct of a prefrontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex is the newest evolutionary gift of the mammalian brain and is most developed in the human species. One of the functions of the prefrontal cortex is emotional regulation. That regulation only happens because of human understanding that we are empathetic animals. Humans understanding we are empathetic animals. Chimpanzees and baboons do not. Humans understand we have emotions. Chimpanzees and baboons do not. Thus, sympathy is emotional intelligence. Understanding we have emotions is emotional intelligence. Chimpanzees and baboons do not understand this. Think about it. Bye. So that was the script. Now we're going to pull up some stuff from Brene Brown. Now, Brene Brown was really hip back in 11 years ago. All right, so let's see. We're going to share our screen. Here we go.
Where will you go
After
in the
commercial.
V6-powered Nissan Frontier?
This your bag, sir?
What gave it away?
Oh, you the Geico Gecko! I filed a claim for my car with the Geico app.
So what is empathy, and why is it very different than sympathy? Empathy fuels connection. Sympathy drives disconnection.
I disagree. I think Brene Brown is way off key, way off point here. I don't understand why she says that. Empathy, we do zero to have empathy. That comes from evolution. Evolution provides us empathy. Every single human being born has empathy to different degrees on the spectrum, right? The way one's raised affects how much empathy one has, but sometimes it doesn't. Sympathy.
Empathy, it's very interesting. Teresa Wiseman is a nursing scholar who studied professions, very diverse professions where empathy is relevant, and came up with 4 qualities of empathy. Perspective taking, the ability to take the perspective of another person or recognize their perspective as their truth. Staying out.
That's sympathy. That's understanding. That's having knowledge. That's using your brain. That's using your prefrontal cortex. That's not empathy. That's sympathy. That's sympathy. Empathy is feeling another's pain. Sympathy is understanding that that is not your pain. Okay? If I see somebody get kicked in the nuts, seeing as I have nuts and I've been kicked in the nuts, I know how that feels. So if I double over when I see somebody getting kicked in the nuts, that is empathy. Sympathy is standing up straight and realizing, oh, that's not my pain. That's my fellow human being's pain. That's what sympathy is. Brene Brown is totally off her rocker.
Out of judgment, not easy when you enjoy it as much as most of us do.
Realizing that one should not judge is sympathy. Using your understanding, using your knowledge, using your prefrontal cortex. Not your amygdala, not your hypothalamus, not your thalamus. Brene Brown is incorrect in my opinion.
Recognizing emotion in other people and then communicating that.
Recognizing emotion in other people. You have to know you have emotions to recognize them. That is all prefrontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex is the executive function part of the human brain. It is the emotional regulation part of the human brain. Thus, without a prefrontal cortex, maybe also the frontal cortex, you cannot regulate your emotions. Think of Phineas Gage. Had a superheated iron rod explode through his his face through his prefrontal cortex and frontal cortex. And after that, since it was superheated, it cauterized everything. Phineas Cage survived. And thus, after the accident, he could not control his emotions. He had no emotional control. He still had emotions, though. So, emotion is age old. Sympathy is the newest part of the human condition because it is the prefrontal cortex that causes it. No prefrontal cortex, no sympathy. No prefrontal cortex, emotion, empathy.
Empathy is feeling with people.
No, it's not. Sympathy is using your understanding that you are not in pain, that another is in pain. Sympathy is the ability to distance oneself from the pain one feels because of empathy and help your fellow human being. That's why when you go on an airplane and the masks come down from the ceiling, the stewardesses, the flight attendants tell you to put your mask on first. That means you have a prefrontal cortex that you are using. You're using rationale, reason, logic, because you are intelligent enough to realize that you are capable of helping the others. If a parent puts the mask on their child first, that's pure emotion. That's zero sympathy. That's zero intelligence. That's zero recollection, reason, zero rationale. It's pure empathy. A child cannot help an adult. The vast majority of children cannot help adults. Okay? The adults are supposed to help the children. That's why you put your mask on first. That is sympathy.
And to me, I always think of empathy as this kind of sacred space when someone's kind of in a deep hole and they shout.
Someone's in a deep hole. You know they're in a deep hole because you feel what it looks like to be them. But your understanding, your prefrontal cortex, lets you understand that you are not in the deep hole, that you are not in pain, that they, your fellow human being, is in pain.
You shout out from the bottom and they say, I'm stuck, it's dark, I'm overwhelmed. And then we look and we say, hey, I'm down. I know what it's like down here. And
that's wrong. That ladder is sympathy. The bear would have jumped down there without the ladder. In fact, the bear was with empathy would not have jumped down there at all. The bear would have taken a 440 excavator, dug his own hole, and jumped in that hole. That's what empathy is. The ladder represents sympathy. This bear reasoning with this fox is sympathy, not empathy.
And you're not alone. Sympathy is, ooh, it's bad, no. You want a sandwich?
Brene Brown is so off point here. That's not sympathy. The bear is sympathy. The ladder is sympathy. That is cynicism. That is callous. But it's not sympathy. So, enough of that. Now, let's do Russell Brand, Brene Brown. This didn't age well, Brene. If you see this didn't age well. Why? Oh, I gotta bring this up on my YouTube. That's why. Sorry. Russell Brand, Brene Brown. Yeah, this didn't age well at all. Brene, shame on you. So let's go down here. Let's get the transcript and see if we can find a point I want to point out. Where's the transcript? Transcript, show transcript. So Control F. Oh, there it is.
in the West without Christianity, or do you think Christianity underpins, like, is it just Western? Is it? Are we
I
just
meant
talking
spiritual principles, to be
principle?
honest. I
Okay,
didn't
yeah.
even mean Christianity. I'm
Yeah.
saying that they can't be divorced. And when they are, as you've just said, there is a danger. There is a real risk because it doesn't relate to us as human beings. I thought it was curious that when Theresa May resigned, that she sort of wept and suddenly we saw her humanity. And for me, I read into that, wow, she couldn't be who she was while she did that job.
No,
Her
but
job did not permit her. But why wouldn't it be good if we had a kind of politics? And I would say that the structural changes go way beyond this, but that where human beings were able to be human while in those roles. Like, yeah, fuck that up. I'm really, really sorry. I don't know how to do that. I don't know. Brexit's complicated. I'm confused. What do you think? You know what I mean? It's, the discourse is extracted from humanity, from humanitarianism. It becomes a bureaucratic language. It can't interface with who we actually are.
I'm having such an aha moment as I'm sitting here. Like, I don't
I hope
think.
you mean realization rather than the Danish pop group.
Oh my God, take me, like that one, where
Exactly.
the videos and
Norwegian
like sketch.
Drawing.
Yeah.
Sorry for that really silly joke when you're on the edge of
But
epiphany.
no,
I'm not
but-
going to talk for a while.
I think that's a God moment because I really loved that video.
When you're on the edge of epiphany.
no,
I'm not
but-
going to talk for a while.
I think that's a God moment because I really loved that video.
A God moment. I mean, these two, zero sympathy. They never put themselves in another person's shoes. These two fellow human beings think that they know who God is. They call themselves Christian. That means they're not putting themselves in my shoes, because I see zero evidence for any claimed God. Right? So if they have zero sympathy, because sympathy is prefrontal cortex, it's understanding. And now we will just wait, see if anyone shows up. I doubt it highly. It's a Friday night. I figure I'd do this. I got to work on that script. It didn't come well. It came out pretty well, but emotional intelligence is sympathy. Humans and other mammals have empathy because of evolution. Empathy is as old as the hippocampus, amygdala, and the limbic system. Maybe I'll change that to thalamus. Thalamus. Sympathy is a byproduct of a prefrontal cortex. Homologous, okay. Obviously, I was so far off on how to spell thalamus. Oh, it's actually with an A. Yes. Sympathy is a byproduct of a prefrontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex is the newest evolutionary gift of the mammalian brain and is most developed in the human species. One of the functions of the prefrontal cortex is emotional regulation. Meaning, empathy and emotions existed before the prefrontal cortex developed. That regulation only happens because of human understanding of empathy emotions. You don't think that empathy and emotions exist. Human understanding that we humans are empathic animals. Our closest relatives chimpanzees and bonobos do not have this understanding. And thus do not have sympathy. Humans understand. We have emotions. Chimpanzees and bonobos do not understand. They have emotions. Thus, sympathy is emotional intelligence. Sympathy. Understanding we have emotions is emotional intelligence. Understanding humans have emotions. Comma. It's emotional intelligence. Understanding humans have a prefrontal cortex is emotional. Understanding humans have understanding the prefrontal cortex regulates emotions is emotional intelligence. Chimpanzees and bonobos do not have this understanding. Human understanding is sympathy. Sympathy. Chimpanzees and bonobos do not have sympathy. Think about like Hello, viewer. Would you like to have a conversation? I have evidence that any God claim up to this point in time does not exist. Guess not. What happened now? Okay. Have a good night, everyone. Bye.